Okay, let's unpack this one. It's quite something. Imagine the sheer sudden reality of it.
Yeah,
One moment you're climbing, the sky's opening up, the next, well, everything just changes.
completely.
We're talking about the crash of Air India flight AI-171. That's a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. It was heading for London, crashed near Ahmedabad back on June 12th, 2025, just moments after takeoff.
And those initial reports, they painted such an incredibly grim picture.
Unimaginably grim, right? The first word out, the authorities quoted.
Yes, that initial information was stark, very definitive. Authorities were quoted basically saying there were no known survivors, zero.
Right, a crash like that, a wide-body jet going down near a populated area, it seemed, well, unthinkable that anyone could survive. Zero survivors was the devastating word.
But then the story took a turn, a really dramatic one.
And that's what we're really focusing on in this deep dive, isn't it? This shift.
Exactly, because a man was found alive in the wreckage, and he's come forward claiming to be the sole survivor.
The only one. So the source we're digging into today is a CBS News article, also from June 12, 2025. And what it does is pull together reports from various news agencies right there on the scene.
Yeah, it's an aggregation.
So our mission here isn't just to say what happened, but to really, unpack the details this source gives us about the crash itself, and maybe more importantly, explore this incredible claim. One single survivor. What does the source actually tell us about his story? And maybe what does that make us think about?
And why should you care listening to this? Well, because a survival story like this, against these kinds of odds, it's not just news, is it?
Yeah.
It's profound. It sort of forces you to look at things like resilience, chance, maybe just the fragility of life, in a totally new way. And
Yeah.
the details in this source, even though they're kind of fragmented, just coming in, they offer a really unique perspective.
Okay, so let's get into it. What does this CBS News report, pulling from all these agencies, actually tell us? That first report from Ahmedabad Police Commissioner G.S. Malik, quoted by ANI, India's national news agency.
Right. And that initial quote was blunt. No known survivors. That was the official line at first.
But things changed fast.
Very fast. And what's fascinating is how the source shows that shift. The same agency, ANI, later quotes the same Commissioner Malik again.
And this time.
This time confirming the police had found one survivor. They'd located someone alive.
And the source gets incredibly specific about where this person was, doesn't it?
It really does. The police report apparently pinpointed seat 11A.
11A.
Yeah. And the person found there was taken straight to the hospital, confirmed to be getting treatment.
Seat 11A, that detail just jumps out, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It immediately makes you wonder, why there? Does the source give any clue about, the significance of that specific spot?
Well, no, the source doesn't explain why 11A. Well, was it something about the crash dynamics? Was it just sheer random chance? We don't get that explanation.
Okay.
But the fact that it's specified right there in the official reports, it clearly marks it as a key detail as the story was unfolding.
And it wasn't just the police commissioner, right? There was other confirmation.
Yes, Dandan J. Dwivedi, who's the principal secretary of the Gujarat State Health Department, also confirmed a survivor was found. That was according to the French news agency, AFP. Though he didn't release the name publicly at that point.
But other outlets did manage to get the name. Indian media speaking to the man in the hospital.
That's what the source says, yeah. Media outlets spoke with a man who identified himself, UK citizen Vishwash Kumar Ramesh.
Vishwash Kumar Ramesh.
And crucially, the CBS report notes he apparently had his ticket with him.
Wow, even in that situation.
Yeah, showing his name and confirming that exact seat assignment, 11A.
So you've got multiple layers there. Police report, health official, the man himself, the ticket, all pointing to this one person in this one seat.
It seems so, yes. That's the picture the source paints.
Okay, so we have the identification. What did he say? Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, speaking from the hospital. What did he report about those terrifying moments?
Well, the Hindustan Times reportedly quoted him directly, and it's a chillingly brief account.
Yeah.
He apparently said, 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise, and then the plane crashed. It all happened so quickly.
30 seconds. 30 seconds from wheels up to impact. That time frame, for anyone who knows anything about flying, it's almost impossible to process.
It really is.
Takeoff is critical, sure, but 30 seconds suggests something immediate, catastrophic, a major failure or some kind of event happening right then.
The source definitely highlights that incredibly rapid sequence. It really underscores the violence of it, the lack of any real warning he described.
And his injuries? He must have been badly hurt.
Oh, definitely. He reported significant impact injuries, according to that same Hindustan Times piece. Injuries to his chest, his face, and his feet.
Right. So given injuries like that, from a crash of this magnitude,
Yeah.
what was his actual condition? Medically speaking, according to the source, was he stable? Was he, or.
Well, Dr. Deval Gamedi at Ahmedabad Civil Hospital told the Associated Press, the AP, that he had examined Ramesh.
Okay.
And he described the survivor as disoriented with multiple injuries all over his body, which you'd expect.
Of course.
But then he added, and this is crucial, he seems to be out of danger.
Out of danger after that.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary thing to hear, isn't it? Especially when you consider the scale of the loss.
Absolutely. And the source tragically reinforces that scale with another detail from the same doctor from the hospital.
What was that?
Dr. Gamedi also told the AP that a staggering 186 bodies.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 186 bodies of passengers from that plane had been brought just to the civil hospital.
186 to one hospital. That single number. It just paints such a vivid, awful picture of the sheer number of fatalities.
It does.
And it provides this devastating context for that one single instance of survival, just the contrast. The report also brings in the human side from the family back home, right, in the UK.
It does. CBS News' partner network, BBC News, they managed to speak to Ramesh's cousin, a guy named Ajay Valgi, based in the UK.
And had he spoken to Ramesh?
Yes, Valgi had managed to speak to Ramesh on the phone.
And what did the cousin say about that call? I mean, it must have been just incredibly difficult to process for him.
It sounds like it was very brief. According to Valgi, he quoted Ramesh saying simply, he only said that he's fine, nothing else.
He's fine. Just, I'm fine after living through that. Such a simple phrase, but it holds so much weight, doesn't it?
It really does.
Maybe shock, maybe just inability to articulate the trauma yet, but contrasted with the simple fact that physically he survived.
Right. That stark message.
Did the cousin share anything else?
Well, this is where it gets even more heartbreaking from the family's perspective, as reported in the source.
Okay.
Valgi mentioned that Ramesh, he'd been sitting next to his brother on the flight.
Oh, no. His brother was with him, in the seat next to 11A.
Apparently so, sitting right beside him.
And the brother's status, according to the source.
Unknown. The source just doesn't provide any information on the brother. Not his whereabouts, not his condition, just unknown.
Unknown. That one word. It adds this whole other layer of agony to the survival story, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
The relief for the one life found, but tempered immediately by this terrible uncertainty about a loved one right beside him. The cousin's feelings must have been just torn apart.
You can only imagine. And Valgi was quoted expressing that pain very directly. He said, I'm feeling absolutely upset. He's not just my cousin, he's also one of my best friends as well.
Yeah. That really brings the personal cost home beyond the numbers.
It does. It personalizes the immense scale of the tragedy through one family's experience.
The report also mentioned video footage, didn't it, of the crash itself?
Yes, it briefly describes video footage that apparently shows the plane flying quite low over buildings, then dropping out of sight very suddenly, and that's followed immediately by a massive explosion, a giant fireball.
Right. So Vishwash Kumar Ramesh's account, the loud noise, the crash happening so quickly, just 30 seconds, he said, after takeoff. That aligns terrifyingly well with that visual description. A sudden, catastrophic event unfolding incredibly rapidly after reaching only a low altitude.
It certainly seems to connect, yes.
That detail about the loud noise he mentioned,
Yeah.
that feels particularly significant, doesn't it? Especially thinking about a sudden failure.
It's a critical piece of his reported experience, absolutely. You can be sure that accident investigators, if this account holds up, will be intensely focused on what could cause that noise and that rapid sequence.
Yeah.
So if you kind of connect all these dots that the source gives us, you have the initial reports, total loss, then the rapid shift. Finding one person, specifically in seat 11A. Right.
Then his own brief, fragmented account. Loud noise, sudden crash, impact injuries. Then the medical confirmation. Survived, but disoriented. Then the overwhelming number of fatalities confirmed elsewhere. And finally, that really poignant detail about his family's reaction, the relief mixed with the ongoing agony about his brother.
Yeah.
It paints a picture that's almost, well, almost beyond belief, really.
It really is. It's a story of just immense, almost unimaginable tragedy, punctuated by this instance of survival that feels so incredibly rare, almost statistically impossible on the face of it.
Hmm.
It certainly makes you think about how fragile life is, doesn't it? But also it highlights this incredible resilience that can sometimes emerge, even from the absolute worst devastation.
In this single source, this CBS News report pulling these fragments together, it gives us just that snapshot, doesn't it, of the immediate aftermath,
Yeah.
a terrible crash, the initial assumption of total loss, and then just one voice, one life, emerging from the wreckage in the silence. So wrapping this up, what does this all leave us with? We've unpacked the key details this source provided us. The tragic crash itself of Air India AI-171.
Right.
The shift from those initial official reports of no survivors to the confirmed discovery of one Vishwash Kumar Ramesh in seat 11A.
We heard his account, brief as it is, that sudden event, the loud noise happening so quickly after takeoff.
The medical report saying he's out of danger despite severe injuries. The truly grim detail of 186 bodies brought to just one hospital.
And that poignant perspective from his cousin, including that incredibly simple but powerful quote about Ramesh just saying he's fine, and of course the heartbreaking unknown status of his brother.
Yeah. Thinking back on the source, the details that really stick with you are, well, the specificity.
Definitely. That exact seat number, 11A.
The survivors reported time frame just 30 seconds.
Yeah, that 30 seconds. And the chilling number, 186 bodies.
The cousin's few words capturing so much emotion.
And the uncertainty around the brother, that just hangs there.
This story, as this source presents it in the immediate aftermath, it's really about this stark, almost brutal contrast, isn't it, between absolute catastrophe on one hand and this almost unbelievable individual survival on the other.
It really throws the vulnerability of life into sharp relief, but also these extraordinary, maybe inexplicable moments of resilience.
It truly does compel you to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And that leaves us perhaps with this final thought for you to ponder. Given the sheer scale of loss described here, the devastation implied by that fatality count, what does it truly mean for one single person to emerge from that?
Yeah, what does that signify?
What questions does that solitary survival raise? Not just about luck or chance, although that's part of it, surely, but maybe about the specifics of the event itself. Or maybe, I don't know, about the very limits of what we even understand about survival in these kinds of extreme circumstances.